Hello, welcome back to my channel. Thank you for coming back, and as always, huge massive thank you for the support. So today I'm coming back with Butterfly Dance topper collection. As I said before, I am working my way through the 4 different toppers in the kit, and this is the beautiful Glistening Jade. So it's the beautiful green with the purples. It's beautifully and delicately foiled even on the frame. This is beautiful little touches of silver, and it's really nice to have a silver kit once in a while. And you do get the same delicate foiling on there. I think that's just about picking that up, and then the beautiful printed one as well. So I'm going to be doing, I thought I'd change things up a little bit, not much, but I thought I would do some smaller cards today, because these toppers, even the largest toppers here, I mean, you can always pop these in instead if you wanted to change it, but the actual size on that topper is quite small for Hunkydory. So it's only 3.5 by 5.5 maybe. So, you know, that's with the frame, and obviously you've got the 2 frames there. But like I say, you can swap it out with those, and you just get those ones as well, which are smaller, so you could use those instead if you don't like what I'm doing with the ones I'm doing today. Okay, so with that being said, I'm starting off with a smaller piece of card, and it's 4 inches by 12. And I'm going to do like the double step card with it, so I'm scoring at 4, and then just because I've got the smaller board, I'm going to turn that round and score at 2 and at 4. So if you have got the bigger board, you will then score 4, 8 and 10. Okay, so let's give these little folds a burnish. I think I want it to go that way around, and then I'm just going to give all of those folds a really good burnish on my mat, so that gives them nice and crisp. Okay, so at the moment this card is a 4x4. You could keep it at 4x4, keep all your layers smaller. I am going to do this so it fits in a 4x6 envelope. Okay, so let's bring in the trimmer. Dun dun dun, here he comes. And I also want some silver foil. Again, I'm using the A4 sheets for this one because I haven't got any of the smaller squares, but it works out better with these smaller cards anyway. So for the front mat, I want a piece that is 2 inches by 4. So I'm going to go 2 notches under that 2, and 2 notches under that 4, and that should fit quite nicely onto there, and it does. Obviously, if we make another card the same size, that would probably fit. And then the back piece is 4 inches by 4. So we're going to go 2 notches under the 4 on both sides. And then that piece should fit into there quite nicely. And it does. And again, we've got 2 decent sized pieces there that we'll definitely be able to use again. So I think I'm going to use this cardstock. So I really want to use the green on the bottom. So I need that piece to be 4 notches under the 2, or 1 3/4. And that's going to be by 3 3/4. Again, we can always make another card very similar. I'm just going to lay that on my silver mat, just make sure I've got a nice piece all the way around. And then I really wanted some of this purple. Now, if I cut, I'm just thinking of how wide this is, so 8. So if I took that down to 4, it's going to be there. So I think it's probably going to be better for me to take a piece from here, and I'll put this green border at the bottom if I can. So I'm doing that 3 3/4 squared. I could go a bit further over and keep some of that green for as a border for another card. but it seems a bit wasteful, and it does kind of frame it quite nice, and then you won't see the green border at the bottom much anyway. But if anybody was to have a look, it would be nice little detail for them. Okay, so let's go ahead and pop these together. So the glues I'm going to be using as usual. In this one I've got my Clout All Purpose, which is pretty much the same as the Hunkydory construction glue, and probably what I will change over to at some point, depending on which is cheaper. And then in this one I've got Cloud Tacky Glue. So I like to use a combination of both glues. So I use the all-purpose in the middle and a little bit of tacky on the edges. And this does two things for me. Number one, the all-purpose won't splurge out and damage my foil cardstock, so the alcohol sort of in it does take finishes off. And also with the tacky glue in the corners, it means that my corners are usually, as long as I put enough on there or put it in the right place, usually stick down really well. So that is my thinking behind those. So I'm just going to pop that into the middle. And that's looking pretty nice on there. And then I'm going to do the same with this one. Again, onto here. And I think today's video is probably going to be a little quicker than some of the others because they're smaller, less involved cards. So hopefully, I'm hoping it's going to be around about 30 or 40 minutes. But we will see how it goes. No doubt you'll hear Henry at some point complaining when the kids come home from school or something. Wouldn't be one of my videos lately without him making you aware he's here. So that is the card as it is, or as it stands. I'm just going to give that another little burnish down on that crease and on that crease underneath. Okay, so that is the card. Okay, I'm going to just put it that way so you can see the profile of it. Okay, so it's like half of a W really. Okay, so I think I'm going to go for this one on the right hand side. I just think that one's going to go better with my next card because of the way the butterflies are, but I'm not going to give too much away. Now I don't think, as usual, I don't think I'm going to use all the frames because I do want there to be a bit of air in between these on the card. And I'm just going to pop that out carefully so I can keep that frame, because I might use that on one of the ones that doesn't have the big frame, if you know what I mean. Okay, so I'm going to put my card down here nice and flat, and I know I want it to fit in a 6x4 envelope, so I'm going to put that just a little bit from the top, so I know I need to be just above those. And I am going to use tacky glue on this because I'm going to do this one flat. I don't want so much of the dimension on it, although I will be popping the other piece up. So we know we want to be just above those flowers. Just get that border nice and even. Pop that down and I can just double check, and that's just underneath where we want that to be. Okay, and then this one I think I'll come in with some 2mm foam pads, and I have some strips here, so I'm just going to pop that in there so I know where these strips need to go. And if I pop that one across there at the top, then I know I can go down to the bottom as I want to. So I'm going to put a fair amount of support on there just because You know, we've got that bit hanging over the top. If you've got the larger pads, I have got some larger pads, this is what I pulled out before I started. You might not need quite so many. And then just to get this perfectly in place, I'm just going to pop that back in. And if you're in any doubt about where the foam pads are going, you could pop that frame in and put your pads there. And then you know you're not going to go over the edge. Okay, so I'm just going to turn this round, just better angle for me. And trying to avoid the glare of the lights. Pop that in. And then we can come and oops, pop that out. And that's perfectly placed on there. So that is our card. It's difficult to show you sort of on there. If you do want a better sort of on front view of it, then you can always just pop onto my Pinterest page, or I do post them on Facebook as well. And then we've got believe in yourself, or you can do it, or best of luck. So I think this one is quite nicely placed to go across all of the middle of there. If you don't want this sentiment, if you've got something else, what you could do is come in with this purple border. Let me just snip that out. I think I wanted that on the next card, to be honest with you. But let's snip it out and we'll have a little look. I don't like the, it's not that I don't like for this card, they're carefully handmade for you. It's not really what I'm going for with it. Right. So, I think it's more that way. Now, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring in, like I say, I want to save that border for the next card. Let me just turn that over because it's gone upside down on the other one. I think I'm going to pop this one on, again flat. Just going to take those little pips off. There we go. And let's see how we want to arrange this. Of course, we're going to put some little gems on and things. So we could just go right to the bottom, or we could do it so that it's popping up. I think I'm going to go on that left hand side. Again, just popping up a bit, not too much. And then this one I'm going to pop a little 1mm pad on, so I'm just going to cut that in half. Okay. So I don't want this to go very high. If you don't like any of the sentiments in here, you have got either the little book of sentiments, the little book of large sentiments. I think I am going to come across there, like so. Oh, it's a little bit on the wonk. Let's see if we can get it off carefully. Come on. Here we go. I think that's okay. A little bit better, I think. Yeah. And then let me grab, I'm going to use these Paper Mania jewels that I used, gems that I used the other day. So I think, how should we do these today? I've just got a little bit of glue stuck there. So I think I'm going to go one little one at the bottom, and I'll go with a heart, one teeny tiny one. Oops, stuck to that sheet. And then I want large and medium, because there's not really much point putting any gems on the back side there, because you're not really going to see any of that. And this glue, there is a bit of glue coming out the side. You can either use your little clean-up tools, I can't remember what they're called, teeny weeny hibbity, I haven't got one to hand, but Hunkydory have got some little sort of applicator with a little sponge on the end that you can use to clean up any excess glue. But this does dry clear, so I'm not going to worry about it. And then I'm going to put one large one at the bottom. Now if you've got any teeny tiny butterfly dies and those little odd bits of glitter that I always say, oh, you can cut butterflies out of that, that would be the perfect time to add maybe 1, 2 or 3. You could add 2 to the bottom, maybe 1 up here, you know, I've moved that. Sort of what was I going to say, it's gone out my head now. Yeah, so you know, green glitter, purple glitter, even the black I think would probably look okay, but obviously just try it up against your cardstock. So just wiping that glue away where it's gone over the edge where I moved the gem. Sometimes I forget what I'm doing. It's just a bit of glue on that silver mirror, so that's going to come off quite nicely. So that now is going to go on the side and dry, but that is that first finished card, just a little cutie at a 6x4. Like I say, not a usual size for me, but I'm definitely feeling smaller today, or smaller cards. So I'm just going to get set up for card number 2. Okay, so for card number 2, again a smaller card, and this is 5x7 on the temp fold, because I just find that they tend to stand a lot better. Okay, so we pop that to the side, and it is going to be a normal sort of card in that I'm not cutting out of it, I'm not cutting into it. I'm just going to use it as a normal 5x7 card. So I'm bringing in just that off piece of silver card that I had from before, and I'm going to cut a mat which is 2 notches under the 5, and then if I pop that leg out there, it's going to be 2 notches under the 7. Again, if you were cutting butterflies out of the mirror, if you've got a punch, even that would look really nice on these. They would suit these cards, little silver butterflies as a little finishing piece. Okay, so we've got our first mat there. I think I might just take a tiny weeny bit off that end. Just a little bit of a wider border at the top than at the bottom of the side. I think that fits a bit better. Okay. And then I'm going to come in with, but I'm not using the foil piece, that's obviously going to be the basis of another card for me. I'm going to cut this again 2 notches further down, so 4 3/4. And you've still got a decent sized piece there. I mean, you could do a 7x7 card with that. And I'm going to take a little bit off the bottom. I don't want quite so much. I think I'm going to take 1 inch off there. And then so we need to go to 6 3/4. And then we've got our next mat down. Okay, obviously these pieces you can save and foil on, or you can just throw away if that's not your bag. Okay, and I just need that trimmer again, and I want that border that I had, this lovely purple border. I'm just going to neaten it up that end, and then I'm going to cut that to 4 3/4. Because I want to replace, there is a bit of a pip there, so I'll sort that in a second. I want to replace that there, and I want that little sort of bit of raised 1mm, something like that. Okay, so let's grab my scissors, and then just while I think about it, just going to grab that pip off there. I think that's fine. And then we can go ahead and pop these down using the same glue sort of as before. And I do this just because I do this. You don't have to do this. It's not anything against these glues. I just find this works for me in my climate. You may find that in your climate the glues that you're using work perfectly well. So there is absolutely no reason why you need to change unless you really want to. So I'm a big believer in, you know, using what you have, finding what works for you. And this is fairly recent that I've been doing this. I suppose probably about last year in my videos. I've been doing it, and because I found it worked, just trying different things. And you know, it's disappointing if you make something and then you come back to it a day or so later and it's not quite how you wanted it to be, you know. So I just try to save myself the pain, really. That's what it is. Okay, so let's see. Yeah, so that's okay. And let's just cut another one because I think I will need two. And these are 1mm foam pads. So I'm just going to pop one on there. One on there. I'm going to trim this down a little bit more. And I'll pop that one on. No, let's use the scissors, that makes more sense. And even though it's a little bit, we'll save it, it may well come in. Okay, so this border, this purple one, it does seem to me to have a right and a wrong way, whether that's just my eye. Well, I can see why now, because this flower here, this orangey flower, has got the foliage going up from it, and then it's got the same flower here with the foliage coming down. So I think it depends on where you cut it. So if you cut it where you've got more of these sort of upside down, or the other way around, it's going to be what suits your eye. But really there's no right or wrong way, but it's just going to be what your eye feels is right. It's a repeated pattern. Okay, so let's do it that way. So it doesn't matter which way I turn it, I've still got the flower there or there, and but there's slightly more foiling on this flower, so I'm going to go there. And I'm going to pop that on. I think we're pretty straight. Yeah, okay. And then I'm going to grab this other frame butterfly. And we will pop that to the side. Again, I don't think I'm going to use this silver frame, so I can save that for this other card. In fact, what I might do is do like a, I'll show you what's just occurred to me, like a long thin card, and have maybe some patterns from the book. Where's that other one gone? Here he is. And maybe have some of the pattern papers from the book, and then this one raised, so like a little they're the same though, they're not the same size, they're slightly different again like last time. So that one's smaller, so you probably wouldn't be able to transfer these over, or maybe they're smaller again. But anywho, right, I want that topper. Why are you putting that away, you silly fool? Okay, so let's come in with this. I think I'm going to come to, no, I think we're going to go in the middle. And then we can have a little bit of decoration and a sentiment. Let's have a look at the sentiment. So But believe in yourself where you can do it. Let's have a look at the believe in yourself. That's a nice little circle. Ouch, got my finger stuck. Or we could go in with one of these, which is another little arched one, which is you can do it. Let's have a look at that one. So, yeah, I think I'm going to go with that one and hope it doesn't interfere too much with what I'm doing with the topper. Okay, so we need some more 1mm foam pads, and this is going to be for this frame. I'm just going to grab the pack, and I'm pretty sure there are no strips in that. No, they're all like squares. Okay, fine. So I'm just going to have to cut myself some strips. So just on these large toppers, large foam pads. I've just cut them a little bit narrower so that I can go around this frame. And around. And if you've got any of these strip ones, then obviously you won't have to do this. And if you are struggling getting them around that corner, then just remember that tip that I found from watching one of the other YouTubers, that if you take the backing off both sides, I'll show you, like this, they do tend to curve. It's a lot easier. So if you've got any round shaker cards, anything like that, then that was Nicole that I was watching, that I saw that on, and that's her shaker cards. That was how she was doing them. I think she had some round like tag ones. I don't know if I've watched so many of her videos lately. I love her style. And hopefully when I get back in my craft room, which should be very shortly, the room is done, it's all carpeted, it's painted. I tried to put one of the cupboards in there yesterday, and the problem I had was that it sort of moved the carpet because the cupboard was really heavy, because it was a felt back carpet and there was underlay as well. It was the weight of the unit was moving it, so we tried a couple of different ways to do it, but it wasn't working how I wanted it to. So I've got some tape today, so I just need to pop that tape on the end of the carpets, and then hopefully we'll try again. Worst comes to worst, I might have to unassemble the unit and then reassemble it in the room, but I'm hoping that's not going to have to happen. Okay, so for this bit I thought I would do something different. So I'm going to make it as a sort of wobbler. So I've got, I know it's going to be difficult to see, I've got a piece of acetate that was left over from, I think it might have been last time actually, and I've just cut a 1/2 inch strip, and then I've scored it at 1/2 inch 1, 1/2 inch 2, and I'm going to cut there. If you've got, you can buy specific wobblers. I know AliExpress and lots of companies do have them. So you know, that is an even better option. This is just, I haven't got any of those, I have to be honest. I think there were some other ones as well before them, those sort of white ones that I see everywhere now. There was another sort of option, but yeah, I haven't got either of them. So I am going to make do. Actually, I'm going to put another little bit of tape on there because that's going on my top piece. I want it to stay. Yeah, so I think that's maybe, I need to get a few maybe for next time. It's not very often I do a wobbler, to be honest, but You can do this out of paper or acetate. I kind of prefer acetate because you don't really see it. So just give that a little press down, just so that the top comes off. And then I need to take a bit off the bottom. I think one piece of tape is going to be enough on the bottom because it's got a solid card back to it. Okay, so I'm going to pop this, if it stops sticking to me, and I'm just going to pop that straight into the middle. Just going to go behind with my bone folder, just give that a press down. I'm going to bring back the frame. I'll have to work out which is the correct one. It's not that one. And pop that in. And then what I'm going to do is just pop that in. We're hoping we're going to get it round about in the right spot. There we go. We will fix the little wonk in a second. And if I can get that frame out, oh, it's hiding. There we go. There we go. So that's gonna sort of jiggle about in any breeze. Just going off to the left a little bit, but I think that's just the weight of the topper. If you wanted to do that a little bigger, maybe an inch by, you know, an inch, and then an inch with the scoring, that may well help stabilize that a little bit. Okay, so for this bit, I'm not putting any pads on. I'm just going to pop a little bit of tacky glue. I'm going to pop it just under there because if I put it over the top of this, it's going to restrict the movement. So just going to pop that into place, and I've kind of just left it coming over the bottom just for a bit of extra detail there. And like I say, if you've got one of those wobblers, that would probably work a lot better than that as well. Okay, but let's go with some gems, and I think I'm going to go one in each corner, and we'll go with a big one for that. Where's those? Oh, there. No, get back on there, you. That one's not a big one, that's a medium one, but hey ho, we will make do. And then I think I'm going to go with a medium one again there. And then I think what I'm going to do is do two little ones. So these little micro ones. You just have to get them to stick, and because they are quite old, they want to stick to the tweezers rather than the actual glue. Just move it back into place. Again, we've got a bit of glue everywhere, but it does dry clear. Just clean it up a little bit with my knife. I think that's going to be okay. If you are worried about that, what you can do is just pop that behind. But I think I'd rather have it sort of fluttering. It's going to be more fluttery whenever a breeze comes by. You could also potentially put two under there, but then I don't think it would move as much. Kind of like, I think for me, for what I've done today, it's better as it is. And I think the other thing you could do is not put as many creases in, so experimental creases. But those are the two cards that I've done today, two little ones, like a 5x7, like I say, and a 4x6. So a little bit different for me to go a little bit smaller. But that's it for today. So those are those two. Next time, coming back with another set from this butterfly dance. Not quite sure which one yet. Which colour? I think there's purple left and there's another colour. This was the Glistening Jade. Very, very pretty kit. You know, I had a comment on there about how somebody had thought that this was the prettiest kit that they'd done, and I agree, because the foiling on it is just, it's just gorgeous, and I don't think you really get the full beauty of it coming across until you see it in real life. It's one of those kits. But if you are into butterflies, if you're looking for a card for somebody who likes butterflies, this is a kit that would be perfect for them, and the cards are super easy to make up. I mean, I've made 2 little cards there today, but I've got plenty left over. I mean, I've got those 2 toppers, I've got those 2 frames. Oops. I've got another sentiment there. I've got that whole big piece there. I've got those 2 pieces there as well. So, you know, still plenty that can be used to make cards from that. I will, once I'm settled in my room over there, I will be able to sort of make some more cards, although not necessarily on video, but I will put them on my Pinterest. So it will be a case of checking Pinterest or Facebook for any option, you know, extra ones that I make with the leftover bits. But thank you so much for watching today. Really do appreciate your company, and take care of yourselves until next time. Happy crafting. Bye bye.